Yeah, I think it's something we spoke about in Glasgow last week. Is just really focusing in and being really positive and going to get the 5 points against Zebras today. And that wasn't being disrespectful to Zebra. Sorry, it was just being about our mindset and where we needed to be to come to this game. And I think we delivered on all that. I think we spoke in the change rooms about what we are in the times of adversity when things are coming up against you, is how we respond as characters. And I think the team responded today and the intent to play. I thought how we try to keep the tempo in the game was really positive. Yes, there are still things we need to tidy up on, in particular going into another notch up into a competition now into Europe, but it's something that we're pretty pleased with to get the 5 points.
You seem to play without that much tension, given that you've only won one from six. You played a sort of open brand of rugby.
Yeah, I think it's something that we're starting to get the group back together now. And like for some boys have been away for 4 or 5 months. Some boys have come back just right at the start of the season. There's bumps and bruises, and now we're starting to get a little bit of consistency with everyone back in training. I think it's positive. And the one thing I love about the group, we don't doubt ourselves. We know what we are, and yeah, we're a little bit short on some things, and yeah, we had some moments in the game today, but it ain't going to be the want of lack of effort or the want to play in around things. And it's a group that you still can't wait to come to work and train, and those boys are responding and they're frightened of fight and to try and climb this ladder in this competition in particular.
You've got Europe next week. Can you say, is it too soon to say that you've turned the corner?
Yeah, I don't think it's turning a corner. I think it's something that was a positive performance. There's a bit more consistency in some of the things we did. I thought there was some real top end performances. I thought Lloyd Ashley really put his hand up, and then you got Tips Allen win bigs in around that. Then you got Dav coming in and doing a pretty decent job in fairness. So it's something I thought Dan Evans again carried the ball back pretty hard. So yeah, I think it's something that I think is more positive. But it's something that we need to ramp up the intensity of what we do this week, because Exeter will pose a huge challenge, and we know we're going to have to be on the money to get what we need against those.
Harry Winks had a sort of a busy little week really up to London, talking about his future, coming back, first start after the World Cup. How do you assess his performance?
Oh look, it's been a tough week for him. Like you say, Glasgow, London, back and forth, missing a day's training, but you know what he is. I just see some of his kick chases, where he's popping up, some of the offloads, and I think for him to respond, and it's tough, like emotionally, probably from those World Cups. I think we underestimate how much baggage that does hold, but he is the ultimate pro in around it. Yes, like he's definitely going to be a little bit tired in around things, but in fairness, he doesn't show it in some of his performances and the way he carries the team out there on the paddock. And yeah, it's something that it does inspire everyone, the way he does go and perform on that field.
Griff sat there 2 weeks ago and he was bemoaning the performance of the Ospreys backs. But your back three looked quite good today, didn't they?
Yeah, I think we were better. I think there's still a fair bit for us to tidy up on and get better, because I think Exeter will expose us in different ways. So they'll have more of the ball than Zebras do, so I think it'll be a test in round of D. But yeah, I think they were positive. It was lovely to see Dav, and I think from the Edinburgh game where we asked a few questions of Dav for him getting his opportunity now in around his just basics like ball presentation, how he looked after the ball, I think that's a positive. So there are signs of learning, and at the end of the day, some of these boys are young and some of them are developing, and we've got to put trust in them and make sure these boys do come through.
What do you make of Brendan Leonard playing well, I thought?
Yeah, the amount he covered in the first half was phenomenal. The amount of running he got up to, the amount of coverage he done, the speed. There was a couple of things that I think we can tidy up on, but the amount of, like I say, the covering dinks just in around the ball, he understands the game, and I think he's growing. And in fairness to Brendan, at the end of the day, it's going to take time to settle in, and I think he's been really good for us over the front end of the season. But I thought that when Abba's come on then, because Brendan, fair play, emptied the tank, Abba's come on, I thought he was really sharp and in around it. And I got to be honest, obviously it's disappointing to lose Webby up until potentially February, but the 3 9s we've got in training at the minute, and Martin doesn't get a mention, the way he's carrying himself in training. There's pressure on all 3 of them, and that's one area where we have got strength and depth, and all 3 9s are delivering in training constantly. It's a tough ask, but I think Brendan has been very, very good in how he covered the ground today.
Did the criticism you've received, either in the press or online, did that hurt you as a group? Did it sting you as a group?
I think internally we've got our own standards. I don't think it makes a difference what people say about us, because at the end of the day, throughout my career, there's been a lot of negativity around it, and us as Ospreys, but it's something that they're there to test us, and people look at us and challenge us, but that's where we got to respond. But the only way we can do that is no good worrying what people say. Like we did last year, everyone wrote us off at the start of last season, yet we went on to win, I think, the first 8 league games. So this group respond to things like that, and it's not something we worry about too much. At the end of the day, we spoke up in Glasgow last weekend. It's about us. Doesn't matter what people say about us. Doesn't matter people how they criticise us, or if they all of a sudden now today maybe the best team in the world after a 5-point win. Doesn't make a difference. We've got to know we've got to be better week in, week out, irrelevant of what people are saying. It's not something we go stick in what people say up at us on the board. You as motivation. We've got motivation to be an Osprey, and what that requires to wear that shirt. And those boys in particular, they know how to do it. Sometimes we're a little bit short in strength of depth and our squad with injuries and things. But that's life, and we know we're going to have those blips along the way, but it's how we fight our way out of it and test our character and mettle in around these when there is flack coming our way. But as a coach, don't read into it too much. My concern is ultimately making sure that team is ready for the weekend and those boys are protected from all that, and making sure we deal in performances, not what people are saying about us.
You play Exeter next week. How do you assess their challenge, and what kind of shape are you in as a team?
Yeah, I think, look, obviously it's a step in the right direction today. Exeter pose a genuine threat, and I think it's something that you can't take these lightly in the fact of history or whatever. Year on year, I'd say over the last 4 or 5 years, this team is getting better and better and better. They're adding to their squad. They've got a settled coaching team. They've brought in some high-profile players like Jeff Parlin, people like that to strengthen their squad. So this isn't a mid-table club. This is someone who's challenging, getting into Europe, and they play. I think they're a well-balanced club in how they do things, and I think that transfers onto the field. I think you see the way they play. They're not the typical English team where they're going to try and batter up front. They've got their own developed players like Slade, Noel, those boys. So I think they've got a real all-round package in fairness to them, but it's our patch, and it's something we need. If we got any chance of getting out this group, we need to have a home win come next Sunday.
You must have a lot of respect for Rob Baxter, what you're saying there, Steve, because it's never an easy thing to take a side up and to establish them as he has done. He shows we're a good coach.
Yeah, good coach. I think the setup of the club is outstanding, and we've played him a couple of times in the LV, and I've spoken to a couple of the Welsh boys that do go down there. I think it's sometimes when you say Exeter, you think a small club. I don't think it is that. I think it probably doesn't. I think it does get the respect it deserves, but I think it could be a little bit more in what they've achieved over the period of time. I think got a lot of respect for Rob, how long he's been there, what the job he's done, and I think they've got the balance right of how they've brought like Jeff Parlin, Salvi in, but also they've got the Cowan Dickey, they've got the boys who are tried and tested, and they know what Exeter's club's about. And I think it's probably something similar to us in around how we develop players and bring them through, and it's something we're particularly proud of. And I go back and like the National Duo contracts those boys have signed this week. It's our homegrown players, which is fantastic for us. And then you see unheralded people like Lloyd Ashley putting a performance like he did today. I think it's good for us, and I think there is some similarities in around what it is. But ultimately, we can't be paying them too much respect when we get onto that whitewash. I think as a club, they're a pretty smart club, and I think it seems like a good environment to be in. Everyone I spoke to, but ultimately, as good as they are, we need to be on a mettle come next Sunday, and we've got to be pretty ferocious in how we attack this game.
And obviously, just came out of the match today, Steve. I mean, I know he's constantly excellent, but
yeah.
He's really brought his World Cup, his Wales form back with him. He's really sharp.
Yeah, he's been outstanding. I think he hasn't had a lot of time off considering the World Cup. He had like a few days. He came back on the bench and thought he's terrific, and I think he's growing. And the best thing about Tips is I don't think he's anywhere near where he can actually get to, which is something that's pretty special, I think, as him as a rugby player. But off the field this week, he was leading a couple of things, and it's just great to see, and players respond to him. And you look at Brendan, Biggs, the maturity and obviously the experiences they've had through the World Cup is only positives, but those boys are pretty special players. And I just enjoyed seeing like Ollie Cracknell and Sam Underhill, young men coming on then and taking up the mantle where Kingy and Baker have left off. They were like, Zebras were pushing us at the end, but we kept taking yards of them. But I think that is just as pleasing for me as seeing Ollie Cracknell and Sam Underhill coming on no difference in around it. There was a bit of a sort of mismatch. Obviously, Kingy going the second row, they adapted and done pretty well. But it's great to see those young guys on the field, and then Ryan Bevington making a difference when he comes on. And I think when we get everyone fit, we've got a real squad that can really go on. Yes, we're a little bit light in one or two areas, but that's the way we are, and it's something we've just got to dig in and crack on with. And this group will hopefully, they will be ready to go come next Sunday.